So good afternoon, dear guys, and I hope you are doing well. And in the previous lecture, we have seen about equations of motion as well as performance analysis. What we are going to see in that uh, entire course. Okay. So before entering into the course, we should know how our Earth atmosphere and international standard atmosphere is there. So even you might have learned this in your principle of flight or introduction to flight, but this Earth atmosphere and ISA is playing a major role in calculating the performance parameter of aircrafts. It depends upon surface to surface. Like if I'm calculating a performance in like if I'm calculating for an example, if I'm calculating in Chandigarh, right? So here during summer it is having 45 degrees Celsius, but in winter it is having only 10 degrees Celsius. That also in night it is decreasing more, right? So depending upon season, depending upon time, depending upon the place, which place we are going to perform our aircraft, right? So we need to calculate the performance analysis accordingly. Okay, so that's why the Earth atmosphere and what is international standard atmosphere, who is defining the international standard atmosphere. So those factors we are going to see in this particular lecture. Okay. So first of all, the lecture objective is the student will understand the Earth atmosphere and international standard atmosphere. So that's what the objective, and the same is expected from the student as an lecture outcome also. Okay. So as I have told earlier also, the lecture content is taken from NPTEL IIT Madras by Professor Tulapur Kara. So and we are using that for only educational purpose. Yes, so Earth atmosphere. So the image I have used here, it is with respect to IIT Madras, and there are some deviations related with the other images. Example, if I take images from NASA or if I take images from FAA or any other organization, right? So the graphical representation is varying. Okay, so the reason why it is varying is depending upon the location, how the particular organization has calculated the Earth atmosphere. So some might have done in North Equator, or in Equator they might have done in some might have done in poles, North Pole, South Pole. So depending upon the location, the international standard atmosphere, Earth atmosphere, that is temperature, pressure, altitude variation is calculated at various different places and various different by various different organizations. So that's why the image here I have just shared from Professor Tulapur Kara. So if you see from internet, especially from NASA or any other organizations, the images will be having some difference. The reason is depending upon the location, how they have calculated. Okay, so we know that five regions are there in Earth atmosphere. So first is troposphere, and second one is stratosphere, third one is mesosphere, and fourth one is ionosphere or thermosphere, and the last one is exosphere. Okay, so five different layers of Earth atmosphere is there. So we will be seeing one by one. So before entering into that, I hope everyone knows what is the temperature drop and pressure drop towards altitude. Okay, so you just have a look at the graph once. So here it is mentioned in the left side, it is mentioned altitude in kilometers. So in the x-axis it is mentioned temperature in degree Celsius. Okay, so 0 is here, so left hand side it is minus and right hand side it is positive. Okay, positive degree Celsius and negative degree Celsius is there. So in the right side, okay, so it is given in pressure, which is mentioned in millibar. Okay, so that's why in surface it is given 1000 millibar, 1000 millibar. Okay, so it is nearly equal to 1 bar. Okay, so as altitude increases, okay, so what is happening with respect to the temperature? So in troposphere layer, so as per this diagram I am explaining. Okay, so as I told, if you check with NASA's atmosphere graph, right? So they will be having different, because the variation was done because of locations, how they have calculated. Okay, So the standard atmosphere, still till now, many contradictory statements were given by various type of organization, but finally it was under the control of one organization which we are following right now in the current world. Okay, so let's see what, according to this graph, how the temperature and uh, pressure is defined with respect to altitude. So we will discuss about other graphs later. Okay, so what is happening here, the temperature is given degree Celsius. So at an altitude of 10 kilometer, right? So at an altitude of 10 kilometer, our troposphere layer is completed. Okay, so the distance from ground, earth surface, to 10-kilometer altitude, that was the distance covered by troposphere. Okay, so similarly, some graphs might have mentioned that is a 16 kilometer. The troposphere altitude is 16 kilometer. Okay, so my stylus is not working properly, it is having some issue, that's why it is not clearly visible. So it is 16 kilometer. Okay, so 16 kilometer altitude they might have mentioned in various graphs, but the reality which stands is depending upon the location which they have measured. Okay, so according to this graphical representation, we are stating that the troposphere layer is from 0 to 10-kilometer altitude. So where the tropopause is nothing but it is a separation between the stratosphere and troposphere. Clear with that? So the separating the layer which is separating the stratosphere and troposphere, it is mentioned as tropopause. Okay, so what is happening with the temperature? So standard temperature is around 15 degrees Celsius, right? Everyone knows that international standard atmospheric temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. So here it is mentioned that from 15 degrees Celsius, as altitude increases, so the temperature starts decreasing. For a best example, if you are in Chandigarh and if you are traveling to Himachal, any place, right? Let's say Shimla or Manali. So due to there is an increase in altitude, that we can feel the temperature difference, right? So that is one of the best example for temperature, how it is decreases. We are seeing in real life. It is a real life experience also. So the temperature is dropping up to the tropopause. Okay, because the pressure is also getting low. If you see the graphical representation in the right side of the graph, the pressure is getting decreased, where at the surface, earth surface, 1000 millibar is there, but at an altitude of 10 kilometer, it is 1 by 10th 1 by 10th of the earth surface pressure was available at the 10 kilometer altitude. Okay, so think about how much the pressure is dropped. Okay, so up to this troposphere layer, this pressure is dropping. So basically, in the troposphere layer, pressure is decreasing as well as the temperature is decreasing. Okay, so let's get into the next slide. So we will see few conditions of troposphere. So yes, this is the region closest to the earth surface, and it is characterized by turbulent conditions. Yes, we are having hurricanes, we are having tornadoes, right? So many turbulent conditions are at this troposphere layer, and it is due to heavy air distribution and wind flow directions. Okay, speed of wind, it depends upon speed of wind also. So the next one is the temperature decreases linearly at an approximate rate of 6.5 Kelvin per kilometer. Okay. So here they have given with respect to 6.5 Kelvin per kilometer, that is a Laplace rate. Okay. So when they have mentioned Kelvin by kilometer, that is temperature per kilometer. Let's say uh, one altitude is having nearly 200 Kelvin, right? So then if you are going for a particular altitude, right? So that will be reduced per kilometer. For per kilometer, it will be reduced by 6.5 Kelvin. Okay, so that's what the line indicates. So the highest point of the troposphere is called tropopause. Yes, that's what I told. The troposphere and stratosphere layer was separated with tropopause. Okay, so the height of the tropopause varies from about 9 kilometer at the poles to about 16 kilometer at the equator. Can you able to understand the last line which I am trying to say in the beginning? Okay, so if I am calculating the troposphere layer at the equator, right? So my altitude is showing 16 kilometer. Okay, so when I calculate the tropopause height altitude, okay, so when I am calculating from equator, it is showing 16-kilometer altitude, but when I am calculating from poles, either south pole or north pole, it is showing 9 kilometer only. Okay, so that's why there is a variation in the altitude itself. Okay, so that's why I told, if you see the graphical representation in this image in the right hand side of the slide, right, so I have given an image. So this is with respect to NASA's image only I have taken. So if you see here, the tropopause is given at 12-kilometer altitude. So I am drawing here, kindly look into that, right? So it is given 12-kilometer altitude, whereas in this IIT, it is given around 10-kilometer altitude. This variation is coming because of the measurement. So if you are measuring at poles, 9 kilometer, and if you are measuring at equator, it is 16 kilometer. Okay, so I hope you understand the difference. So wherever you are seeing that Earth atmospheric graph, so don't get confused. Try to find at which place they are trying to calculate. So as we said, our IIT book is calculated with respect to poles, right? South pole or north pole. So they have calculated the tropopause around 9 kilometer. So that's why they have given with respect to 10-kilometer altitude. Okay, so it will varies depending upon the location. Okay, so altitude variation. So even if troposphere altitude is getting varied, then of course other layers, like let's say the stratosphere layer or mesosphere layer or thermosphere layer, their altitude variation will be also there. Okay, so since the first layer itself it is getting varied, of course the other layers will be also getting changed. Tropopause is about, yes, it is above the troposphere. Next one is stratosphere. So this extends from the tropopause to about 50 kilometers. So the same statement I'm giving again and again, but that is the truth also. Okay. So this extends from the troposphere to about 50 kilometers. So let's once again see that IIT graph. So from 10 kilometer to 50-kilometer altitude, our stratosphere is there. Okay. So you should know, as an aerospace engineer, you should know in this troposphere layer, right? Troposphere layer, most of the piston engine aircraft, turbopropeller aircrafts will be flying, let's say, subsonic, below subsonic, right? So those aircrafts will be flying in the troposphere region. Okay, so because the turboprop and propeller, they need inlet pressure should be higher. Okay, so that's why if they cross beyond their limit, certain limit conditions are there. I told you that we are having flight limitations. So each and aircraft is having flight limitation about service ceiling or absolute ceiling. So absolute ceiling or service ceiling is nothing but the maximum altitude above which the aircraft can fly. Okay, so that is called as service ceiling or absolute ceiling. Okay, so below 10 kilometer, most of the turboprop and turbo piston engines, propeller engines will be flying in that. So above 10 kilometer and around to 50 kilometer, it is the region where our fighter aircraft, especially the supersonic aircrafts, will be flying in the 10 kilometer to 50-kilometer altitude, as well as the most important thing is the space balloons and airships, right? So those will be hybrid vehicles also, right? So it will be also try to accommodate on that particular phase. Okay, so stratosphere. So the variation, what is happening again with pressure? So the pressure is getting dropped rapidly. So you can see the pressure difference in the troposphere, as well as you can just compare the percentage of decrease in pressure. So in troposphere it is 1/10. Again in stratosphere, half of the stratosphere itself, it is 1/10. Okay, so 1/10 is 1000 divided by 10. We will be having 100 millibars at the tropopause. But in the mid of the stratosphere itself, we are getting that 1/10. Okay, so think about how rapidly the pressure is getting decreased, and depending upon the temperature, right? So the temperature is slightly increasing in this particular region because of loss in atmospheric molecules. Okay, so the molecule is lost and the temperature is slightly increasing at the stratosphere region. Okay, so after 50 kilometer, the stratosphere is there. So stratosphere is the layer which is separating the mesosphere and stratosphere. Okay, so I hope you understood that troposphere and stratosphere. So whatever the queries you are having, we will discuss at the end of the session. Okay, so you can note it down. So we will discuss at the end of the session. Okay. So mesosphere. So that is the third layer in the Earth atmosphere. So if you see the mesosphere, it extends from stratosphere to about 80 kilometer and the temperature decreases to 90 degrees Celsius. See, the image is made a mistake. So this is degree. Okay. So this is not 900. It is 90 degree. Okay, 90 degrees Celsius. Okay, so don't take it as a minus 900 degrees Celsius. So it is 90 degrees Celsius in this region. Okay, so in the mesosphere, the pressure and density of the air are very low, which is certainly comparing to the sea level. Okay, so the molecules are the atmospheric molecules are very much less comparing to the sea level. Okay, so as I said earlier, the highest point of the mesosphere is the mesosphere, which is separating the thermosphere and the mesosphere. Okay, so it is up to the altitude of 80 kilometer. Okay, so here also it is mentioned 80-kilometer altitude, and the meteors, right? Meteors. So that will be burned at this layer itself. Meteors. Okay. So above this mesosphere, at an altitude of 100 kilometer, we are having Kármán line. Okay, low earth orbit will start in that particular altitude, that is 100-kilometer altitude, where our space shuttle or space capsules or even some satellites, even space balloons, right? So at that particular altitude the gravity will be, we can say that the pilot astronauts will start to feel the gravity-less flight. Okay, so crossing that Kármán line is majorly for aerospace vehicles, right? So at an altitude of 100 kilometers, so we will be discussing about more about the Kármán line uh, in hypersonic aerodynamics, right? So in the next semester we are having hypersonic vehicle dynamics also. In that time we will discuss about this Kármán line and how other surfaces very much. Okay, so the density is like in the Kármán line, it will be very much interesting to hear that. So it will be 1 divided by 2,20,000. So density, you just think about density value, how much less it was. Okay, so crossing that Kármán line is that much important fact, where every astronaut will feel that weightlessness. Even you might have seen in SpaceX Crew Dragon, right? So they kept a dragon toy to identify that gravity, the zero gravity effect. So they have kept a dragon toy in that capsule. So when they have crossed certain altitude, the dragon toy has started to fly. I hope you might have seen that. So and mesosphere, I have told that, right? It is a layer between the mesosphere and thermosphere. So the last, before the last, the fourth layer is ionosphere or thermosphere. So ionosphere or thermosphere, the term itself called as ionosphere. So that indicates that uh, ions, presence of ions are there, right? Various types of ions will be present, and also they have named it as thermosphere. So why they have named it as thermosphere? So depending upon the temperature factor. Okay, so let's see once again the NPTEL IIT's professors uh, graph. So up to 90-kilometer altitude, right? That is our mesopass, right? So according to that NASA lecture, it is given as 80 kilometer. So that's why I told there is variation between graphs to graph. So you have to be very careful at which graph you are going to follow. So I will tell that at the end also which they are following. Okay. So in the thermosphere layer, right? So it is getting a temperature increase, right? Temperature is increased at 1000 degrees Celsius at an altitude of 150 kilometers. So why this much temperature is there? So how it is going to affect our aerospace vehicle? So let's say a space shuttle is trying to enter into back to Earth, right? So think about this altitude. This is the altitude, peak altitude where the aerothermodynamic effect is going to place, right? So 100 degrees Celsius is there, and in exosphere, right? So the temperature is again peaking at 1780 degrees Celsius at around 700 kilometers. Okay, so when it is getting from such an altitude due to gravitational force and this much temperature presence, so think about the effect happened in the structure of the vehicle. Okay, so that's why we need to keep thermal protection system. A separate thermal system has to be done in space capsules as well as space shuttles. Okay, so even in ISRO's Gaganyaan mission, so they are mainly focusing on this altitude uh, to discover new thermal protection system. So if you guys are really interested with that, you can, if you are having any good idea about materials or about design, so you can inform me. We will try to provide that project to ISRO also. Okay, right. So coming back to the slides. So as I told, it is 1000 degrees Celsius. It is not 10,000 degrees Celsius. So here also we have the slide. I have made the mistake while preparing the slide. So I forgot to superscript that. So that's why it is shown that 10,000 degrees Celsius, 10,000 degree Celsius, but it is 1000 degrees Celsius. Okay. So at an altitude of 150 kilometer, again the same will be here. So 1080 degrees Celsius at 700 kilometer. So some electrical phenomena like aurora borealis occur in this region. So you might have seen some videos in your news feed also, right? In your news feed, you might have seen a green color cloud formation near about Iceland, Greenland, and even in poles. Okay, in northern pole and southern pole, you might have seen this type of aurora. So, which is one of the important, like mesmerizing thing. Okay, so it is formed due to some electrical phenomena. So, if you want to study about that, you can separately go for that aurora borealis. So, yes, northern lights. Yes, 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 northern lights. So, so you want to study about that, you can study, but according to our syllabus, that is not required that much. Okay, so exosphere, so that is the most outer fringe of the earth. Okay, so very few molecules are found in this region. So as altitude increases, so the molecules will start to, they will be rapidly distributed, and some of them are saying that the gravity, presence of gravity is zero, but it is slightly equal to zero, tends to zero, we can say tends to zero. Okay, so gravity is tends to zero, it is not exactly zero. Even the vacuum is also not exactly the same as vacuum, since there will be some molecules will be present in the exosphere. Okay, right. So this is the earth atmosphere. So 5 layers I have told, and coming into the next slide. So international standard atmosphere. So this much contradictions, as I told, depending upon the equator, depending upon the pole, depending upon the location, many people have discovered their own international atmospheric conditions, and they have given graphs. But in order to maintain a uniqueness, and in order to maintain the rules and regulations of international flights, right? So suppose if international flight of let's say a flight is taken from Mumbai and it is going to New York, right? So it has to cross many countries. Suppose if one country is following their own standard atmospheric condition and another country is forming their own standard atmospheric condition, then it will be a contradictory statement, right? So let's say India is following with respect to pole. Okay, so altitude measurement with respect to pole, and they are informing their pilot to fly accordingly. So the pilot will be flying around 9 kilometer altitude. But when the next country, let's say Dubai is following equator atmosphere condition, and they are following with respect to 12 kilometer or 16 kilometer altitude, then that contradictory statement will come, right? So when Dubai surveillance is happening, ATC is checking that aircraft, then the altitude variation will be there, right? So in order to avoid those confusions, right? So in order to avoid those confusions, they have formed. There is already one association is there, that is called as International Civil Aviation Organizations. Okay, so international ICAO, they will be naming it as ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization. So in this, various nations civil aviation organizations will be participating. Let's say India's DGCA, right? DGCA, Directorate General of Civil Aviation, right? So they will be also a member of this ICAO. Even in Canada, right? Canada Aviation Organization, they will be also a member. US FAA, we know that. So they will be also a member of this ICAO. Okay, so they will decide which system we can follow. Okay, so the current international standard atmosphere which we are learning, which we are doing research with respect to, or how the aircrafts are flying nowadays, so it is depending upon the ICAO only. So when ICAO fixed that sea level, it is defined the pressure and temperature with respect to mean sea level, and the variation of temperature with respect to altitude of 32 kilometer. So it was measured and it was done by ICAO. So all the international flights and all the international countries has to follow their standards when they are flying the international flights. Okay, so what is the importance of having this uh, international standard atmosphere? So first thing is performance of different airplane. So we have to identify each and every performance parameter of different type of aircraft. Let's say Boeing 787 is having one type of performance, right? So Airbus aircraft will be having different type of performance at different type of conditions. So different type of locations also. Okay, different type of season, day and night, time to time, day to day, and location to location. Okay, so we have to calculate that and we have to report to ICAO. So apart from that, the performance of same airplane measured in flight test. So as I told, flight test is a major important one of the important tests we have to undergone for every aircraft. Okay, so the flight test will, if you are designing a new aircraft and you have manufactured the first aircraft. Okay, so let's say you have manufactured one aircraft in 5 years. Okay, then you have to do the flight testing for remaining 2 or 3 years, so that your aircraft will be successfully authorized. Okay, so the flight test will take minimum of 2 to 3 years itself if you are newly designing an aircraft. Okay, so if Boeing is designing a new engine also, they have to do that flight testing. Without flight testing, the authorization cannot be done. Okay, so the performance of the same airplane measured in flight test on different days has a set values of atmospheric properties have been agreed, which represent the average conditions prevailing the most of year in Europe and North America. So previously it was measured with respect to Europe and North America, but later when ICAO formed, so now it is under the control of ICAO only. Okay. So with this values being described, it is possible to find the physical characteristics, pressures, temperature, density at any chosen altitude. Okay. So our main agenda of this international standard atmosphere is to calculate the pressure, temperature, and density at various altitude. Okay. So already it was listed and already it was tabulated. So I hope everyone knows that before also you might have learned in your principle of flight or even in your introduction to flight. So I'm not getting in depth of that again and again. So I'll be just covering the overall for this topic. Okay. So the standard sea level condition, yes, everyone knows that temperature is 15 degrees Celsius or 288.15 Kelvin, and pressure is given with respect to 1 bar, or which is equal to 101325 Newton per meter square. Or in mercury, it will be set with 760 mm of mercury. Okay. So Laplace rate, I have told what is Laplace rate. So it is nothing but the temperature drop, that is decrease in temperature per kilometer. Okay, so that's why if the sea level temperature is 288 Kelvin, right? So at 1 kilometer altitude, simply we can say minus 6.5, right? So minus 6.5 means 282, okay, 282 Kelvin at 1 kilometer altitude. The temperature will be 282 Kelvin. Okay, yes, D 6.5 kilometer up to 11 kilometer only. Okay, so this 6.5 per Kelvin per kilometer is suitable in the troposphere layer only. Okay, so when we are saying when we are when the aircraft is flying and you want to do some calculations in the stratosphere, let's say 11 to 20 kilometer, 11 to 30 kilometer is the troposphere layer. Some might have given 50 kilometer, so depending upon the graphical representation. So at 11 to 20 kilometer the temperature is constant, that's why the Laplace rate is 0. Okay, 0 Kelvin divided by kilometer. But again at 20 to 32 kilometer it is positive, so the temperature starts to rise, so that's why it is mentioned as 1 Kelvin per kilometer. Okay, so Laplace rate, it is changing with respect to altitude also. So up to 32 kilometer is the limit for ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization. That is the limit. So beyond that, it is for under the control of space agencies. Okay, right. So these are all the basic things. So I am not going in depth of each and every equations. So equation of state, if we have the purpose, you know that P is equal to rho RT, right? And hydrostatic equation is given with respect to dP by dH equal to minus rho into G. I hope you know that these factors you might have learned in that your schooling itself, as well as in the principle of flight. So for this topic, I'm just skipping those derivational parts of international standard atmosphere as you learned before itself. Okay, right. So substituting that known values and the temperature variation is given with respect to T is equal to T naught minus lambda, where lambda is Laplace rate and H is altitude. Okay, so H is altitude and lambda is the lambda. So when we substitute the variation of temperature with altitude in the equation, right? So we'll be getting dP by V equal to minus G into dH by R into T naught minus lambda H. Okay. Right. So while integrating with respect to the temperature and pressure, we will be getting the final equation P by P naught is equal to T by T naught square power of G by lambda R, power of G by lambda R. Okay, right. So substituting the known values, R gaseous constant, we know that 287, there is a typing error in that. So it is meter square second power minus 2 Kelvin, and G is also, it is square. Okay, so this is square meter per second square. Okay, so there is a typo error, so I will change it in the document. So while submitting to you guys, it will be corrected. Okay, so lambda, as I told earlier, at the altitude less than 11 kilometer, it will be 0.06 Kelvin per meter. So there it is given in kilometer, so here it is mentioned in meter. So in order to maintain the SI units, okay, so the total value of G by R lambda is taken as 5.255. so substitute these values over here. So in order to calculate the pressure at various altitude and density at various altitude and temperature at various altitude, we can use this formula. Okay, so another thing, depending upon the book, the notations may be varying. Okay, so the Laplace rate lambda, the rotations may be varying, so it depends upon which book you are referring, so you just have to go through that only. So substituting this known values, right? If I know the pressure at the surface and I want to calculate at 11 kilometer altitude how much the pressure, how much the temperature, how much the density, we can calculate. So there was a problem related to this topic. So I will be taking that problem during the tutorial. So with this, I want to share another thing about that homework. So I have seen that few of you have not completed that homework. So today I want to say you guys. So can you able to see the screen? Can you able to see the screen? Yes. So I hope you can see the screen, right? Okay. So kindly go to your 5 to all. Okay. Don't go to the tutorial. So everything has to be done with the 5 to all only. Okay. So the course go to 5 to all. So I have given about the instructor and course overview as well as introduction to the chapters. So chapter wise, topic wise, I have given. Okay. So I have framed the homework in such a way that at the end of the semester you will be having your own research article. Okay. So in order to utilize the time and effort of the students, so all the homework, say I have taken like special care for this. So that's why I have not given like a quiz question or anything. So I have framed the homework as like at the end of the semester you will be having your own research article or review article. Okay. So I have asked, first question is name the aircraft which you are going to do research about. So I want a name of the aircraft, so which you are going to do the research. So either it is already existing aircraft or upcoming aircraft. Okay. So you have to give the name and you just share the either Wikipedia page or official URL where you can find the details about the aircraft which you have given the name. So this is the homework, first homework I am giving. So I am giving the duration of by tomorrow. Okay. So today is 27. So I request you to submit by tomorrow 5 p.m. or tomorrow 11.12 midnight 12 you have to submit the homework. Okay. So are you okay with that research article? I'm giving the poll, so you just answer to that. Okay, dear. So time to time I will be giving that homework. Okay. So I have said I will share again once again so that you can see what we are going to do. Yes, what is it, sir? It is saying that due date is passed. No, I have changed just now only. So your due date is 28. Okay, so right now only I have changed. Okay. So I will share once again the screen so that you can understand how I have framed the research article. So many of you have said yes. So no one has said disagreed for that research article. So it depends upon you only. If you work hard, don't copy the article everything from internet. You have to do it on your own itself. Okay. So I hope the screen is visible. So if you see that in first homework I have asked about the name only. So in the second homework I have asked about which area you want to work in your research about, either aerodynamics or structures or avionics or flight mechanics. So these things you don't need to complete now. Just for today's sake, you have to give the name as well as the URL where you have found the details about the particular aircraft. Okay, those two things I need. So time to time I will be giving this type of homework. So together we can submit it as a research article at the end of the semester. Okay, so this will be useful for you guys to learn about the latest. So I request you to choose the latest aircraft. So after 2010, so that is mostly latest aircraft. So you can choose the future conceptual design also, but it should have some data. Okay, so I will be discussing with you guys how to collect data and how to retrieve that and how to write the research article also. So in upcoming classes we will discuss that about more. So with this I'm ending this today's session.